So hello and welcome to the Potted RV. This is massively a different video than I normally do. We're even in an entirely different spot. I told you last week my son fell down the built-in stairs in the RV, so this is the solve for it, and it's a much bigger set of stairs, so it's kind of changed what I was going to do today. My initial plan was to put the first grow bag right there, but it behind the I can't speak today, behind the trailer, and I have clips of that. It's not going to end up being behind the trailer. We decided to do it right here, along where they had been, but just in a grow bag instead of the pots. And that's because the more we got to discussing it, these pots, though they have under drainage at the bottom, they don't drain like these grow bags do. These grow bags are permeable all the way through it, so that'll help wick away the water. And we do use the trailer that's here. We're sorting through everything in it, and we're eventually going to put a freezer in it because the freezer in the fifth wheel is just too small, at least for our family. So one of the things that is a big task that I absolutely have to get done today is the strawberry that got massively overwatered because of it being located right underneath the awning part where it's constantly, every time it rains, it's spilling. In fact, that's part of the reason why I'm feeling a little rushed and this video is moving a little fast, is because I'm supposed to have rain in a couple of hours. Welcome to Oklahoma. Go from living in a desert for 8 years to living in the subtropics. The level of rain, you're just not used to it anymore, and it's going to take me a bit to get used to it, but it's been fun. So it is really, really, really stupid humid and really, really, really hot. It's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and so I'm like feeling like I'm melting, but I got to get this done before it rains, and I want to take you along with me. So I'm going to prep the strawberries before I put the soil in it. I'm going to get them prepped, all their dead cleared away, and they were what's not ripe I'm not going to pull. That's not necessary. It's going to be a bit of a pain in the butt, but unripe fruit I'm not pulling. I would normally, if transplanting, it's what I would do, but I'm not going to, because they're June bearing, so they're not going to produce another set of fruit. What's on them is what I'm going to get. So we're going to just try to get through this, and I'm going to take you along with me. So we'll get started. So I'm going to do this as best I can. This one is the one that got massively overwatered. It has a huge amount of dead because this is what happens when you overwater them, and it's one of the reasons I always tell people I'd rather underwater than overwater, is because it's hard to go back on too much water, whereas too little water can be rectified quickly. I would normally use my needle nose snippers, but they're getting so dull I just can't do it. So all of this dead stuff I gotta get in here, especially seeing as it's tangling up and it'll start killing the shoots. Like this is one of the shoots. And hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Yeah, this one right here is a plantlet that if I leave alone and it doesn't get choked out by all this dead stuff, it will snap out of it. This looked green from down below, but it isn't. Same with this. This is one of those things that I hate having to do when an overwatering situation happens, because nobody wants to have that happen. And thankfully, I do have some new growth in here, so it may snap, well, it will snap back. It's just, I was concerned when I first pulled it out that it might not dry quickly enough for it to snap back, but it looks like it will. It's just going to have some bare gaps, and that's okay. At least I don't lose the plant. But definitely want to get this rotting stuff out, mostly so I can make sure I can see any more issues as if they pop up. And if I have all this rotting in here, I won't see it. Okay, most of it you can just pull, but not always. Down in here, and okay, that stem looked fine underneath, but it's not. And that's a plantlet. I may lose that plantlet. Let's let the plant recover. I have enough plantlets that I can fill that gap with a different one. And besides that, in all honesty, these guys are going to be moved to where they have bigger space, so I'm not going to be overly concerning. Okay. I don't like cutting the stems that have the berries on them, but if I can tell that the berries have definitely all died, I'm going to cut them. Just because that's not doing the plant any good. Oh. Humidity is so unfun. The other one has some as well, some death from overwatering, and now it's acting like it's underwatered, which it actually does need to be watered. So I'll take care of that in here in a minute. But it has little plantlets, and it will do just fine. That's the reason why you want to use your finger to check the soil as to whether or not it's too wet or not. And you put your finger an inch in. If it's dry, the plant needs to be watered. This one, so when you put your finger, it's hard to show, when you put your finger down about to your first knuckle and it's dry, then you want to water it. Otherwise, if you're feeling dampness, hold off on watering with strawberries in particular. Otherwise, this is what happens. It becomes a sea of dying and dead. Now, let's see if I can get it in front. This one didn't have an overwatering issue. It has some dead on it. Well, it has minor overwatering issue to start with, but it has some dead on it. Why it's drooping like this is an underwater situation. We were out of town yesterday, so because the other strawberry was definitely overwatered and this one was right next to it, I decided to let them both dry out so I can identify if it was happening to both of them or just one. I knew that this one, if it wasn't happening to both of them, this one would be going, no, I want water, which is what it's doing. What little dead is going on here is more due to the fact that it was at the back, and that happens. So we're going to clean up the little bit of dead that's in this one and get some water on it because it needs it. The other one is still too water bound and I need to let it fully dry out. But this one does have plenty of little plantlets that when I plant in the other one, I can use the plantlets that are on this one to fill in those gaps. So they're all going into the grow bag along with the one that had been rooting plantlets as well. It's done. So they're all going. And we'll get that started in just a second. So in my case, the hose I use to water my plants is black. And because it's black, I have to let it run for a few minutes to get the hot water out of it. Otherwise, I'm going to burn the plants by literally putting boiling water on them. So now that it's cool, we're going to go ahead and water this one. And I will, because, yeah, it's running out the bottom, but this is too dry. And that's one thing, just assuming that it's running out the bottom is doesn't mean it's watered well enough. Soil takes a minute to absorb, but it's still along the pot, is going down the side of it and flowing through the holes in the bottom instead of soaking into the soil. Now, I don't recommend over the top watering. I don't mind doing it for the camera view right now because it's overcast enough that it's not going to hurt them. With my strawberries, I usually just stick the wand down at the bottom, in the center, underneath the leaves and water it. It's the closest you can get to bottom watering outdoor plants is watering underneath the leaves. Not always can I do that. Like with my roses, a lot of times I can't. This one I can, but a lot of them I can't. So sometimes you'll see me over top water, but it's just because the plant in itself is not in a position where I can do that. So we're going to let this one perk back up while we get the soil ready for the grow bag that they're going to go in. And that is right there. Now what I'll end up doing, my husband's going to end up moving this picnic table into the position where the park actually has them. They didn't do that with ours because we were already here, and they're really, really nice about not being too intrusive. I'm a social person, I really wouldn't mind, but I get and I appreciate the gesture. So without planting anything in these beds, they take literally 16 1 cubic foot bags. I'm using Scott's Premium Topsoil. This is not topsoil. It is a topsoil dress. It's going to have organic matter and peat moss predominantly in it. So when I do this, I'm going to fertilize it because it doesn't have any fertilizer in it. There's not going to be a lot of nutrition. Most of what they're going to get is from the soil they're already in. So I'm not going to be doing what I did with the other one, which is inoculating it along with the soil. But the stuff I had found is a lot less expensive than something like Fox Farms. These cost about $3.50 a bag, but they provide what I need and give me a little bit of control. Fox Farms is awesome stuff, but it's very expensive in my location. About $30, same size bag. That's more than I can do, and more than I can justify to my husband, I should say. But this is still really, really nice. It has nice big pieces for drainage, and it does have some sticks, but they're well composted. I mean, that's squishy. I don't mind this. That I do. But for the most part, there's not really big chunks in it. I don't mind this a bit. This is nice. It's hot right now because it's black. So I'm going to put one into each thing and then put the plants in and use the others as backfill, because I'm going to have to spread these plants out a little bit too, which they don't like, but I'm going to have to do it. So we're going to go ahead and start that process. Now, before I get too carried away, I asked my husband to move these guys out of the way, but he was in a hurry, so that's okay. This raspberry is going to go in the area I just put the soil in. So I'll get the next one in. Now, I'm not going to drag you along through this whole process. It'll take forever and make this video really, really stupid long. So when I'm done with this, we'll see you back here again. So that took a lot longer than I would have expected, but that's mostly because of how hot it is. But also, I noticed something. I'm going to have to put off planting these guys until in the morning, because that soil is so hot to the touch that it actually hurt my hands spreading it out. I don't want to burn the roots of my plants, so I'm going to hold out until this evening when it's pretty late. If the camera will pick it up, I will take you along with me. But basically, and I will show you the end result. What I will be doing is the raspberry, I'm actually going to cut down to where the soil level is at that one intersection in between that one, and I'll be doing it with the back one too, so that the raspberry has plenty of room to spread out, and the blackberry is going to be on the other side. And the 3 strawberry pots I have, or actually 18 strawberries total, are going to be spread out amongst the 4. Now, with where the blackberry is and the raspberry, there's going to be a little bit of room left over, so I'm going to put the roses, my miniature roses, they're going to go in along there to add some color into that bed. When I tell people that, this is so funny to me, when I tell people that the only thing in my garden that isn't edible is the African daisies, everybody points the roses out. There are culinary varieties that are bred for eating, that, like rose hips, there's a specific variety, a couple of varieties I think, that are grown to eat rose hips, and the rose hip actually swells and turns red and ripens like a fruit. Well, roses, the flower roses, the vast majority of them, even wild roses, are edible. And I do tend to dry them and use them in a lot of my herbal teas. I haven't done an herbal tea blend in a while, but I do use roses exactly for that, for using in teas and sometimes in culinary things. I like history. I've been obsessed with history all my life. So one of the things that I really enjoy is trying foods from the past. It's one of the reasons why, if you look, I do believe on this particular account, I have a personal account too, but on this account, and too much dirt. On this particular account, I do believe I'm also subscribed to Tasting History with Max Miller. That's why. I have loved history since I was a little kid, and I've studied culinary history. I've studied prehistory all the way back into the Paleolithic. I like history of any kind. I love the past. And I do genuinely believe you can't move on until you learn from your past, and that is as a people too. So the reason I was saying what brought that up is because roses and rose petals in particular were very, very commonly used in culinary history. They're not as commonly used now as they used to be, but you do find them in some things, some confections and teas. Even in the grocery store, you'll see, if you look at the back of them, you'll see a lot of them do have rose hips or rose petal in them. Roses are edible. Even these miniature roses, though they are mostly grown for ornamental reasons, they're edible. And I grow them because, yes, I think they're beautiful and I have too many of them. That's the reason I say I have too many of them, is because I don't need that many of them for what I use them for. And I don't use them just for looking at. I also use them to eat. The only thing in my garden that is non-edible is the African daisies, which are in full bloom again because my son finally stopped picking them. They're the only ones, and thankfully he's good about listening to me what he can and cannot eat in the garden. He picks a lot of things because he wants to eat it, but he doesn't put it in his mouth until he's gotten permission from me. He'll run. Takes off running, but he doesn't actually put it in his mouth. That is something I'm very grateful for, because he's gotten in the habit of, he can pick all the berries. As long as they're red, Mommy's not going to get mad at him. He has to wait till they're red. He can have all the ripe berries he wants, and I grow them for him. I grow most of everything in here for him. It was something I loved as a kid. One of my favorite things in the world to do, especially right around end part of July. We had wild blackberries. We had wild grapes. We had several fruiting trees and over 20 pecan trees. We lost count at 20. I gave up counting at 20, and they were all wild trees. I spent most of my summers literally grazing all day long. Mom and Daddy made me come in for dinner, but I was pretty much allowed to eat what I found because I knew what I was eating. Mama knew I wasn't going to eat something I couldn't, and there was a lot of wild things growing in our pasture, in our smaller pasture, in our larger pasture, and in behind the barn. Coming into season and perfectly edible. That experience was a very deep experience for me, and I want my son to have some of that joy too, which is why I grow some things just for him. The strawberries, they're the wrong variety of strawberry for this. And I'm going to end up doing another variety next year that is an actual everbearing, simply so that next year when these go into full production, he's got the everbearing strawberries to enjoy, and I can go ahead and do jams and jellies with these. So I look forward to next year, but I also am enjoying this year. I've learned so very much that I once knew that I had forgotten living 8 years in a desert. I had forgotten that it is so humid here that the evaporation rate out of my potted plants is not what it would be in Arizona at the same heat level. That caused some overwatering with some other things, like these. These are chives. These are garlic chives. But not to the point, because I do pay very close attention, not to the point where I'm going to lose anything, just kind of a lesson learned. With the strawberries, I'm not going to get as big of a harvest as I would have gotten had I been here and used to the rain levels that exist here. But that's okay. It's a lesson learned, and in all honesty, that is the joy of gardening. No matter how long you've done it, no matter how much you think you know, there's always something to learn. And even when you're just beginning and you're just getting into it, don't let somebody convince you they know everything. Because I don't care how much of an expert they think they are, they don't know everything. Not even about gardening. Out of the sheer fact that, we are learning all the time. You never stop learning until you're dead. I've lived by that my whole life, and I'll never stop living by that. Even something as simple as dill. Dill is a weed. And this is mammoth dill that I have growing here. It should be a lot larger than it is. But that, I can make sure I've got it in view. Yep, that right there is a flower head coming out. So this thing is so root bound that it is wanting to flower. That's fine. I do harvest the leaves and whatnot. I could cut it completely down and it would come right back. It's called dill weed for a reason, but I've never had it flower so small. This thing is barely a foot tall. It should be 6 feet tall. It's a foot tall. That's small, especially for a mammoth dill. That's okay. I am going to let it flower because I have it for pickling. I use the leaves for the refrigerator mild dill pickles that my son likes so much, and even I like a lot. But I also wanted, and that's the reason why I did this particular variety, is I wanted the flowers to go ahead and do fermentation pickles. I've never done lacto-fermentation, and I'm wanting to try it. So I'm deliberately doing this variety for that. I've never had one root bound so quickly, and like, it needs to be watered again. But it root bound so quickly because they grow much faster here than they do in Arizona. Arizona stunts them because they're so hot. Always something to learn. And that's one of the things that I hate, those little charts that are supposedly for new to gardening. I hate them because they'll tell you that yellowing leaves means too much water. This plant has a lot of yellowing leaves. It is not too much water in this one's case. I can put my finger down, all the way down, and it's dry. It's too little water. It can also be an imbalance of fertilizer. All yellowing leaves tells you is something's not right. You got to troubleshoot. And put your finger down. Too wet, ease off watering. Too dry, water it. If it feels fine, fertilize it. That's how I always work it. And even then, you can still end up losing them and have no idea what went wrong. That's when it just happens. Don't get your hopes. Don't get your hopes dashed. Gardening is a learning experience. Enjoy the failures just as much as the successes, and you'll show yourself real quickly that you can be successful at this. Gardening is not, this is one of the things that I've always said. You don't have a brown thumb, you don't have a black thumb. Gardening is a skill, and you have to have an interest and a desire to learn that skill if you're going to be any good at it. My mother likes the rewards of gardening, but doesn't have an interest in the work of it. In fairness, my mom is a dog breeder. Calypso, come here. Come here. Come here. Come here, old lady. She does not breed English Mastiffs. She actually breeds Australian Shepherds. But four-legged puppies. My mom is so specific on their care that her dogs are oftentimes better fed and better maintained medically than she is. It's not a matter of brown or black thumb. It's skill. She puts that much effort into her dogs because that's where her interest is. And I love my dog. She's a spoiled one. Although some people in the park would think she wasn't because she gets scolded for barking at them. That's because she's getting old. She'll be 8 in October. And she, in her old age, has decided, you know what, I don't have to listen anymore. I can do what I want. And that's typical. But she's still a sweetheart, and she's a very precious member of my family that I do know I'm going to lose soon, which is heartbreaking. That's going to be harder on my son than it is going to be anybody else, because she's been there for his entire life, and she treats him like he's her puppy. But if you really genuinely love gardening, you'll get better at it no matter how bad your first run is. You'll take your time and you'll learn from your mistakes. Even if you've given up and you like, you know what, it's just not for me. That don't let somebody convince you that you choosing that the gardening isn't right for you, that's a bad thing. No, it's not. Everybody has different interests in different things. So hopefully I'll be able to take you guys with me when I go through and plant these things. This is my interest. This is my love. Obviously, anything and everything I do, as far as I'm concerned, my son trumps, period. He is my precious, precious little gift. But when it comes to something I do for me, that's gardening, and is slowly becoming YouTube too. I've gone to truly enjoying this, and I genuinely, more likely my brother sees this, he'll laugh, but genuinely did not think I would. I'm not fond of computers. I'm not fond of technology and never have been. So this has been a bit of a learning process for me, and I'm glad I enjoy it. Hopefully we'll be able to finish up this, and I can get in and I'm probably going to do this in a 2-part just because it's going to be long. So I'll probably do this section. I don't know how I'll do it, but I'm going to put this in it just in case. I'll probably do this section as part 1 and then do the actual planting, if I can get it on camera, as a part 2, because it's going to be long. I just noticed that I've got 15 minutes of video just dealing with getting the strawberries prepped and ready to be transplanted, and then here, so there's another 17 minutes here. It's going to be a long one, so I'm going to go ahead and do it in 2 parts. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe. I'll see you on the next one.